We're live. Good morning. Good morning and good evening.
It's not good morning. It's the afternoon. Sun is going down. Chickens are about to hide away.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to everybody who is joining us live. We are doing a live podcast. My name is Jonathan.
And I'm Stephanie.
She's my wife.
And this is my husband.
And I'm her husband. And together, we are happy. And we made children.
Okay. Well, okay. John's just walking you guys all through the ABCs of life.
Well, we did make children.
We did. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Oh, no.
It was good.
Yeah, well, for you, you just get to stand by. You know what? Have we talked about when I had a leaky and you ran away? No, you didn't run away. But, okay, so when I was having a leaky, they gave me an epidural, and I had a nap for an hour before I was giving birth. We're just getting into this right away.
Yep.
And the doctor told John that he could go relax, take a break after all the strain that he's apparently been through. And then, do you know what John went and did?
I was squeezing your hips.
No, this was the first kid. We had two other people in the room assisting you. Okay? And then Jonathan goes to the beach and gets a workout in and gets a haircut. Well, I am delivering our child. And he comes in at the last minute, all fresh cut, worked out, showered. So ridiculous. And me just in absolute agony. And John just walks in all just trimmed up.
A man's got to do what a man's got to do.
He was really lucky. I was high as a kite, so I thought it was funny. But in reality, I might have murdered him if I wasn't high. You were lucky I was on so many drugs at that moment.
How was that?
What, the drugs?
Yeah.
I'm not. Okay, so my mother says that I'm not a really good high. Because with our second child, I was on fentanyl, and I was evil and angry. I was swearing at everybody and just belligerent.
That's true.
With our first kid, they gave me morphine, and I had an outer body experience. I was watching myself go through everything, and I remember I had really terrible labor, and so I was getting an epidural, and I just would not stop having contractions, and I remember screaming, but I didn't realize it was me screaming. I remember thinking, someone is really screaming. And then
that'd be you
looking down on myself.
Sorry, guys, I'm just pulling up your questions here.
I think I'm in pain. But I was so high as a kite that I was watching myself from above go through this. Yeah, it was weird. Anyway.
You had to be there.
You had to be there, maybe, but don't do it. Anyway.
You tried natural birth.
Oh, I thought I was going to be a superhero and be everything's easy.
I would have stuck it out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Personally, I would have stuck it out.
Yeah, John would have worked out the whole time and just got a few burpees in.
Welcome to everybody on Instagram. Sorry, you guys are not going to get the good audio from the mics, but everybody on YouTube and Facebook and this podcast will be getting it. Hello.
Yeah, we thought we'd throw in Instagram today because someone made a comment saying, hey, if you guys ever consider going live on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so, too, is we're going to do it. And I was trying to convince him to go to TikTok instead, but we stuck with Instagram. Yeah. So, you're very welcome. Wow, you're kind of depressing today. Are you all right? You spent the whole day in town?
Yeah. I don't know.
How
town
was
just
that?
sucks energy out of me. I had to go sit in the TLTB office. And that was great, actually. So fun. The TLTB is the Itoke Land Trust Board. And so we've dealt with them a lot in the past. And actually the guys there are pretty good. It's just
they know you well, no?
Yeah. There's a lease that I'm trying to help an organization secure, and it was paid for last year. The offer letter was cleared up, but apparently so the process is that you go through the different steps, and then you get to once you figured out what kind of land you want to, or what piece of land you want to secure, then the TLTB will give you this offer letter, which is all the fees that you have to pay. And so it was tens of thousands of dollars, and they paid it.
Was it?
What? Yeah, it was yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was quite a bit of money. Yeah, because they're leasing from not their own matangali, right?
So it gets more expensive if it's not your own matangali.
Well, you don't have to pay any of the dereservation fees if you lease from your own Matagali, your own clan.
Oh, I did not know that.
So we leased from our own clan, so we didn't have any upfront fees really, other than the admin costs.
Okay,
right?
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. So the land size is comparable to what we have, but it's
So if it's your own clan, it's a lot more affordable, and if it's not, then you have all these fees that you.
So
have
they
to pay
paid
on
it, and when you pay it, like they completed all the paperwork in November, paid for the lease, and when you like, no matter what month during that calendar year you pay for the whole year. So they paid for the lease in November, but they had to back pay all the way to January, right?
Yeah.
And so they paid for all of 2023, and now it's 2024. We're going into June, and they still don't have the title.
You're actually better off waiting to pay for your lease in January.
Yeah.
Instead of paying for it in November, because then you have the next year's payment already up and coming, which is so silly.
Which is, really... And what's even sillier is that they paid for November, and now we're in June, and I asked where the offer letter, like what's going on, and they're like, well, Lambas has completed the paperwork, but it was never taken, or like the Suva titles office has never received it. And so I was like, well, what happened? So either it got lost in Suva or Lambasa never sent it. And
That's
so,
what happened to you, though, right?
Yeah, so
you had yours get lost.
Luckily, the guy I'm dealing with is pretty cool. He's a guy from Bua, and so he's gonna help out.
Okay,
and so he said he's
that's
gonna
good.
start poking around on Monday, try to get everything sent off. But that's the TLTB. And then I went to the bank. I'm sorry, this is probably the most boring thing, but this is like the admin stuff that you have to do in Fiji, which is just
if you
really,
ever
really...
move to Fiji and you think that you will be able to get things up and running,
You can. You will.
But the process will be long.
Yeah.
Be prepared to have patience. That's what is the moral of this story.
Lots of lines, lots of lineups.
Bring some headphones and like a good audiobook or a podcast.
Or just bring your computer so you can answer all the emails while you're waiting, or your phone. So I went to the bank because my grandma's debit card has expired. And so I went, and that was just the most confusing situation because after waiting for like an hour, I got to the front counter and they're like, oh, this card expired in 2019, June of 2019. I'm like, what? But
you've been using
I just
it.
withdrew money on it like 4 or 5 weeks ago from her pension that she gets from, because my grandfather was in the military. And she's like, no, this account's been closed since 2019. So I think the only thing is that like my grandma has another card somewhere that she just gave me the wrong card, an old card.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, anyways, I'm just so confused. Anyways, that sucked the life out of me. And then, now we're here.
So I'm like head motioning Sev in the background. He's trying to ask me if he could have a pack of Maggi noodles, and I'm like trying to eyebrow talk with him, but it's not my forte. Yeah, get out of here, eyebrow talker.
I see your noodle. Wait.
Just ridiculous. Like, yes.
Pick up your garbage,
go
okay?
Out. Go, yes. Go,
Okay.
yeah. And it's not my forte. My eyebrows were not trained to speak like theirs.
We have a question here from Tonga Kadimaiwai. Do you guys think men should always be providing financially?
What do you think?
Absolutely not. Oh, I don't...
Backtracking so quickly. Absolutely not. Well, wait a minute.
It doesn't really matter to me.
It doesn't matter to you at all.
Yeah.
I don't think. It shouldn't.
I think it's a team effort, and so I think the traditional setup probably works better, like where the man is the monetary provider for the family. I feel like a lot of men find their identity in being a provider. So I'd say if you're effort to speak and like carte blanche, like generally in all, like for all make one statement that covers many situations, I'd say you're probably safer in a relationship where the man, it feels like he is the provider and the protector. And in exchange, that's where he feels like he gets his respect, or his ability for people to respect him is in his ability to provide for his family. That's my opinion.
I think like as a man, it probably just...
I think women belong in the kitchen.
It's just because we're faster and wiser, and we'd all starve if it was just men. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Actually, it's funny because most top chefs are men. So who really belongs in the kitchen? Let's ask that question.
Sure.
Yeah. It's weird. Isn't that weird? It's so weird how most of the top chefs in the world are men.
Yeah, well, men are just generally more successful at life than women, I think.
Okay. 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 You're gonna get slapped. No, I'm just kidding. I would say it doesn't really matter to me who is the provider. I think it depends on who you're married to. I think it depends on how they identify as feeling as a man, like what makes them feel manly, how they are leading, if they can deal with making less money than their spouse, or if that matters to them. I think if there is like a wish for having your wife to be like the homemaker, then yes, of course you have to be the sole provider. Like, it's so difficult. Women have put themselves in like the worst situation ever. Women have gone, we want to work. Hurrah. But then
Like the feminist movement?
yeah, but like the responsibility of like taking care of the house, children, and like all that entails has not left. Like they haven't like somehow gone like, oh, now it's affordable to have a cook and a cleaner. They've just gone, now I am mother, housekeeper, cook, and I work. So this is a 48-hour like around the clock issue. And then if you have a husband, you are great at this, you are clean and you do dishes and you help cook. But if you have a spouse that does not participate in that, like what have you cursed yourself to is like a full-time job and then being a full-time homemaker as well. Like that is the short end of the stick in society 1,000%.
Yeah.
And like lots of women do it, and then they are disgruntled with their husbands because they have to work so ridiculously much.
Yeah.
So I would say you got to stick to like kind of one or the other. Either you both work and you both help, or one works, preferably him, probably, because women are more inclined to be good homemakers than men in general. And he provides finances and you keep the house, but don't do both.
Yeah. Men just can't give their wives a short stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to help.
Or the short end of the stick.
Yeah. And like, it's
Or the
fine.
end of a short stick.
Like me and you, we divvy up responsibilities. Like you're a good cook, but I predominantly cook because you're slow in the kitchen. And
Hey.
you are slow. You would like when he chops vegetables, he wants them to be like the same size. I think that's your.
Oh, you know what?
I think that's like your Fijian like roots deep inside of you. You're like angle cutting things and like very
What?
slow in particular.
No.
Like the beans have to be cut at an angle.
No,
where
no,
I'm
I
just
don't
like,
cut like that. No, I don't do that with beans.
Okay.
Dude, beans I just like put them all together, chop the ends off.
One of our first marital arguments, and you probably don't remember this, is me
That's
cutting.
okay. This is also a woman being able to say like, this is an argument that we had. And
You might
don't remember it,
this.
Which, no.
But listen, I was cutting
which
vegetables for you.
Which
I was-
disqualifies you from any argument because
It's not
you
a
don't
bad
remember.
thing.
You
Just
just don't
listen.
remember.
We were cutting potatoes, and I don't like when I chop potatoes in cubes. Like I'm not that particular. Like I don't make them like hugely different, but I'm not like very particular on their size. I'm kind of just like they're chopped. And John's like,
I'm big on size.
John's like, what are you doing? They won't evenly cook. And then we got in this huge argument. And then I was like, never shall we ever cook again. Do not be in the kitchen with me. This is like, I do this alone or you do this alone. Never shall we cook together. And after that, I don't think
I just
we've
remember
cooked
talking to a
together
guy
again.
who was a chef, and he was saying that food is a lot more palatable if your vegetables and meats are cut up in similar pieces. It's like if you have like a super long bean and a really small piece of potato, it like the contrast is significant.
Yeah, well, no one's going to do that. But you were like, they all have to be like the same size. And I was just doing it fast.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that off. You're just very particular. So, and now,
Whatever, right?
and now, so I just don't let John cook with me. But do you know what's happened lately? John has become like the curry master, like trying to blend all your spices perfectly. And you do a good job at making curry. Do you know what keeps happening? It's like you're busy. And then I prep all of your like onions and all this
You're my little
potatoes.
sous chef.
And then you just have to put it together, which is like the easy part. And like every time I'm like,
Everybody needs a sous chef. You're my little sooty patootie.
oh yeah, sous chefy. You know what? Pretty soon we're gonna make Tui your.
My tootie patootie. Tui,
We're
my
just trying to
tootie
bring it back
patootie.
because it's so funny. I've actually just people have been talking about it and it's hilarious. I've enjoyed that. Sorry, you guys will have to watch the last or listen to the last podcast for that reference. But
we were talking about Tui's butt.
Yeah.
His booty patootie.
And apparently he's had a lot of people jump on that train and be messaging him, which is hilarious. So we're just trying to get Tui out on that open market, apparently. Just a piece of meat over here just being thrown out to the masses.
I've heard the English love a booty patootie.
What? Oh, all right. Okay. Reel it back in. Reel that. Don't even go there.
Okay.
Tu's going to pull out the cover. It's going to be a long session over here. It's really funny. Anyway, all of that to be said, help your partner out or make more money and let her stay home.
Yeah. Well, you got to decide.
Yeah. Pick one. Work harder. Make more money. Have
Question.
a wife at home.
Do you and your family wish to move back to Canada, or are you thinking of settling down in Fiji, and why?
Well, I feel like we're already settled in Fiji. Like, we've been here 4 years. I don't know how much more
what we have to
settling.
acknowledge to people is that, like there's a lot of people who have recently found out about us and
okay.
like our journey.
My leg is dead.
Yeah?
I have numb leg already.
Yeah.
I haven't settled into Fiji. I can sit cross-legged for 10 minutes, and then I'm like, oh.
So for those of you who don't know, if we'd always talk like in the wrong way, you always have to assume that nobody knows. But we moved
It's
here
true.
in the year 2020,
It's
like a
true.
week before COVID lockdowns, and we've been here ever since.
Yeah.
So it's been more than 4 years that we've been in Fiji now, and I feel like we pretty much settled down.
Yeah.
We
And
need to build a house.
I'm even trying to get my citizenship, guys. It's lodged. It's pending. I need to start like following up and being like, don't lose my citizenship application
Yeah.
because I had to pay a lot of money and I really would like to have it.
You did have to pay a lot of money. Yeah?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't as much as people that are not married to a Fijian, but yeah.
You're using me for my citizenship?
I am using you for the cheap price of entry.
So I feel like we've settled down in Fiji for whatever that is worth. I don't really know also what people mean when they say like settle down.
I think like, have you made this home? Are you considering this like for the long term? I think a lot of
like
people
home
come
is
and
here.
go.
Like home is like I feel settled down. I felt settled down like a week after we got here.
Yeah, I'm very like
where you are
if
and the
you're-
boys are.
If you're around me, like I'll be at a hotel and then we'll be out for dinner. I'm like, let's go home. And I mean the hotel. Like I mean like where we are staying that night is home.
Yeah.
I am very
We're not
fluent.
we're not gypsies. Like we're not big like jump around like we can't stay still kind of people. We just have
Maybe
a dream,
not
I guess.
you. I'm okay with jumping around. I don't care.
Yeah, but I don't like want to move back to Canada. Like I'm not here like getting restless. Like,
yeah.
Okay, this village life is just I got to change it up.
You know
That's not what I feel like.
Sometimes I miss Canada, but like when we talk about going back home, all I can think is like people talking about like eating gluten free and like being pretentious. That is, and I am like so over those conversations. Like I want
more in life than gluten free.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard. No country is perfect. So in Canada, people are obsessed with health and fitness.
Fiji
and
is the way
gluten-free.
the world should be.
No. And then Fiji
Yeah.
doesn't talk about health enough. And nobody cares about their health and what they're putting in their bodies. So
It's coming around though.
like,
It will.
no country is perfect. Like, there's no balance. People don't have balance in their life typically. But it's hard. Like even the longer I stay in Fiji, the chubbier I get. And the diet is rough. Even my mom or my sister, when they came, they were like, oh, there's way less vegetables and like less like fruit. And like, we thought this would be like the land of like healthy food.
Eden.
Yeah. They're like, it's the tropics, but it is hard to
Yeah,
find.
we don't realize like when you live in Western culture how
Catered
like
you are?
curated
Yeah.
like you can get every single fruit all year long because they've acquired these things from all different countries. So when it's out of season in Mexico, then they go down to Brazil, and when it's out
Yeah.
of season in Brazil, then they start ordering it from India.
Yeah,
And
it's
like,
wild.
I never noticed that the kiwis are out. Like it's not kiwi season.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I
It's like-
know. And here we're just like, oh, there is no like cabbage or lettuce all
Why? Because it
rainy
rained
season.
for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Or like because it was rainy last month. So
Or
nobody
like
could plant.
we couldn't
What?
serve one of our pizzas at the like fresh coffee shop because there was no tomatoes available, and we didn't want to pay like the $18 a kg in the supermarket because that's outrageous.
No, it's more than that in the supermarket.
it?
Yeah, it's like 20 something.
Oh.
20.
Yeah, like nothing was in season, and all the vegetables, the prices have gone up and up and up. It's very hard to stay healthy here if you want to eat like in a healthy way, you have to be able to afford it, or you need to grow your own food. I think that's the way to go. I'm just too busy right now to have a garden.
I think a lot of people are, though.
Yeah, I know.
Too busy.
And I hate gardening. I'm not passionate. Some people just like find it like their zen place. They enjoy it. I'm out there just for an hour, just to like, I hate it so much. I'm not relaxed. I'm stressed out after I garden. I'm like, that was a lot
I feel like
of work.
we've been having fun. I guess because your parents have been here, though. Like, and
Like
we're going
lately?
fishing again
Yeah.
tomorrow.
I
That's been
had
nice.
the best time when my parents were here. Like, I just felt like we did all the fun things possible, which that's the point of when people are coming. But we got to travel a little bit, go to Taviuni, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, we were in Sakawa outside of Savasavu on the ocean a lot. We went diving for a couple days. We're going back there this weekend.
We're
We're
going
just
to go
kind of
diving
like
again tomorrow.
doing like a few fun things. And I've just been enjoying it because my manager in Canada, tomorrow is her last day. So I am full-time working as of next week at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning. Yay.
That's going to be great.
And I am such a miserable person when I don't sleep enough. So welcome to your new life, honey. I do love you. I'm going to just...
Save me.
Yeah. Sorry about that. And John's always like 6 a.m. like, you need to wake up. But I was just awake and went back to bed. So our life routine is changing. And I'm going to Canada on the 8th. So how do you feel about that? I'm gone for 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
2 months, baby.
It's going to be a long 2 months.
Yeah,
I'm going to miss you.
I know. That's why we bought you a speaker so you can have a best friend. John lost his other speaker, and then he was like, I need a speaker because it's lonely.
It's somewhere in this house. It's just, it was long in the tooth. The buttons don't work on it anymore. You know, short end of the stick and long in the tooth? Those are two
I
like,
don't say
weird.
I don't say long in the tooth. I don't even know what that means. I've never said that in my whole life.
It's getting a bit long in the tooth.
Nope, don't know what that means. Never have used that
It means
phrase.
it's getting old. Like it's
Oh.
aging.
I don't think teeth get longer as they age. Like you say
We
long.
need to look this
You could
up.
say long in the
We are
nose.
obsessed with idioms here at the Walk
No,
family.
you could say long in the nose because your nose never stops growing until you die. Same with your ears.
Long in the tooth origin. All right, here we go. A horse's teeth grow with age.
Oh.
And the length of the front teeth is often used as an indicator of horse age. Thus, long in the tooth equates to old age. And now you freaking know. You,
Interesting. And by the way,
smart
that
people.
word
because I knew
indicator
that.
of equine. No,
Equine.
Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
equine.
Equine age. You didn't say that word.
Well, because equine is an annoying word to use.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, well, nobody knows what equine means. Do you know what equine means?
A horse.
Stuff?
I mean, like horse things.
Okay, now we've been using also short end of the stick.
Yeah.
Okay,
let's
so
figure
some
this out.
believe it comes from worse end of the staff, used since the early 1500s. Allegedly from a stick poked up someone's rectum by another in command of the situation.
What?
Get out of here. Okay, we really have to
Okay.
dig deeper into this.
No, you have to dig deeper into it.
Okay.
The short stick is not short enough.
Well,
I thought
you
it
love
was,
surprising me with
I thought it was gonna be
a good rectum digging
what?
at the doctor. Remember that time?
Never have I ever, and do not accuse me of that. Oh yeah, John one time had for sensitive ears, close your ears. John had a, what is that called?
Oh, hemorrhoid.
Hemorrhoid. And this is when he was like 22 and we didn't know what it was. And then we were at the doctor's for something else and I was like,
Surprise, surprise.
I was like, oh, doctor, you should also, what is this?
I was
And
in for like a sore throat or something like that. And she was like looking down my throat. And I was like, okay,
I was
sweet.
like, can you also maybe check that out? And then she's like, sure.
Like, by the way, my husband's anus has blisters on it. Maybe you could just take a peek at it.
Well, what
and I'm
is-
like, okay, I didn't come here for that.
Well, I wanted to make sure you weren't dying of some rare blistered butt disease. I wanted to keep you around for a little longer. So, you know what they say, pain is gain, or no.
No, they don't say that. Not in that situation. That's what I felt like you and her are saying when you rolled me over on that bed and held me down. and
Nobody
spread my
held you
butt cheeks.
down. It's really funny. John just feels so violated, and like women have to have this all the time with like examinations, and men are such wusses.
Yeah, but women are built for it.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
We're just built to just be exposed and violated by a doctor? No, thank you. I think men are more built for it. Everything is on the outside.
That was
not
one of the
the
most awkward experiences of my life.
It was so funny. It was hilarious.
Well, I was just like I was like in my office because I was working in sales, like service sales, at a mechanic shop, and so I had like a nice shirt on, button-up shirt, like shiny shoes, and like nice pants on, and just like sitting on the edge of bed. She's like scoping my throat or something like that, like shining a light down my throat, and then all of a sudden Steph's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, he's got like some like blisters on his butt. Like, you think maybe?" I mean, we're here. You think you could just take a look at that? And it's a lady doctor too.
Well,
but this is also the question. But here's the yes, and herein lies the rub. Would you rather have, as a man, would you rather have a woman do a rectal inspection or a man do a rectal inspection? Because really, women are. It's probably by default more appropriate. Like, I would rather it.
Is it?
I don't know how to say this. I don't know.
No,
I just feel like.
know. Do you know what I base it off of?
You know what?
Do you know what it's based off of? For women is better, obviously. But
yes, if you're a woman, I'd have get a woman all day.
But I think like what is funny is some of it is based off of like looks. So I had to have something embarrassing done when I was like a teenager by a doctor. And I was in there by myself. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's just a little too inappropriate. But I remember looking at all these doctors walking by, and they were all hot. Like, they were all good looking. And this is like a really embarrassing situation. I was a teenager, and they kept walking by, and I kept going, oh, it better not be that one. Oh, it better not be that one. And I was so lucky because the doctor, it was a dude that did the examination for me. But he was the ugliest, nerdiest looking, like, doctor. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Like, because if they're cute and they're like, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, you don't want Chris Pine, doing
an embarrassing examination. Like, you just want to die. Like, it's embarrassing enough. And then this good looking person is like, oh, let me look at this and horrifying thing. And you're just like, so the level of like looks, like a good doctor is an ugly doctor.
Yeah, she was very motherly. She was more motherly than like sisterly, which made it better.
Yeah, you don't want a good-looking doctor.
No.
Like, my cousin Scott is a doctor, and he's a good-looking dude.
That's problematic.
I just pity all of his, like,
at least he's not a gynecologist.
Yeah, maybe he'd just have a lot of clients, who knows?
I also have questions for guys who are gynecologists.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never trust. I don't know.
I would not.
I'm just saying. Yeah. And there's probably a guy gynecologist listening to this. It's weird.
Plead your case.
It's weird.
It's weird. Yeah.
It's weird.
It's like, I got good news and I got bad news. We were talking about this the other night at dinner. The kids had just watched Madagascar, and the kids kept quoting that we got good news, we got bad news. The plane is landing now.
No, the good news is we're landing.
The bad news is we're crash landing. And then our children think it's funny just to take it in weird directions and elaborate really far. So I can see Aliki telling you, Dad, I've got good news and I got bad news.
I feel like that's a cancer. Like, that's what the doctor says when he says, like, when he comes to you with cancer, like when you're diagnosed.
What? I got good news and I got bad news? I got good news.
I got bad news.
What's the good news?
Well, maybe that, like, it's treatable. Like, you never want a doctor coming to you and being like, I got good news and I got bad news.
I'm sorry. If I'm a doctor, I'm not starting like that with I got good news and I got bad news. I'm just going to be like, you got cancer. I'm probably not going to be like, but the good news is you get to see me more often.
Yeah.
It's not, there's no winning. Like, and the interesting thing with cancer is, all my knowledge in cancer, is that the younger you are.
What is a cancer doctor called? I think it's an oncologist.
You might be right.
I think so.
You might be right. Anyway, when you're young.
Onc being the Latin word.
Stop yourself. He knows nothing. Don't listen to him. Most of the time, he's just spewing nonsense. But anyway, when you're young, your metabolism is really fast. And so if you get cancer when you're young, it actually is more likely to kill you because it spreads through your body at the rate of your metabolism. I am correct.
Metabolism is in your like.
No, it has everything to do with your metabolism. When our neighbor Sarah had cancer, she had a really low chance of survival because she had a really fast metabolism. They said in old people, it doesn't spread as quickly because their metabolism is slow.
Right.
That's what they had explained to her. So one of my friends had breast cancer, and so she had to get both. She got both breasts removed.
Yeah. Talk about weight reduction.
Yeah, well. And then the craziest thing is she got new ones, and then they tattooed
her nipples on,
and it looked really real. And
Did it?
Yeah, it was crazy. And then you can do all these wild things nowadays. And then the worst thing was, though, it came back into her hips, her spine, and her brain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad. But she went to the U.S., and they did some, like, experimental treatment with her, and she's doing a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild. But, yeah.
1 in 2 people will get cancer, apparently.
It's you or me, baby.
Oh, it's me, for sure. It's definitely going to be me.
Yeah, actually, I don't think I have a history of any cancer in my family.
Yeah.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean, oh, yeah? Like one person? I don't. Oh, no, 2. Yeah, you do have it.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
My mom has had cancer. My grandpa had cancer. My grandpa's brother had cancer.
And that's the worst part, is it normally, like, your genetics will stem heavily probably from your mom's side.
Yeah.
Here,
I got good news and I got bad news, people.
One day? Yeah. Oh, I hope not. That's just rough. I think kids the other day were like, Mom, I don't want to die of a heart attack. And they got that from, there's a guy that used to sell vegetables to us on the side of the road out of his truck. And he died.
It's not a bad way to go, though.
No? I don't know about that.
Well, you could suffer for years and years, like some people do with cancer.
And then they were asking me the other day, like, Mom, how do people die? And so I was like, oh, well, we were talking about all the different ways people could die, and that everybody can die, that kids could die, at any moment. And it wasn't like a morbid conversation. It's just like a real life conversation because you're curious about it. But I thought it's interesting, like, at such a young age, like, we all know that we are going to die, and there's already, like, a bit of a fear about it. Did you ever have a fear when you were a kid about dying?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, that was, like, I'd have, like, uncontrollable fear, like, where it would just, like, grip you, and you'd be like, I can't even actually the thought of heaven scared me when I was a kid.
Oh, why?
Well, because, like, eternity in one place, like, when you're, well, even, if I think about it hard enough, probably it's still scary, like, just, like, it's forever. And I just think about that, like, do I want to be somewhere forever? Because I couldn't comprehend, like, obviously the glory and the splendor and just, like, how you won't actually want it to end.
So you were scared of you dying?
Yeah. Even, not even of death and, like, what accompanies the cause of mortality, but the actual afterlife.
You know what? I was never scared of me dying. I was always so terrified of my parents dying. Like, my own death has never really been, like, scary to me. Always the death of, like, someone I love is way more scary to me. Because it's, like, I remember it just being, like, daunting as a kid and having to be, like, oh, like, you know how they say, like, give it to God? Like, let it be his problem? That was kind of, like, years of me being, like, I need to let go of this. That would be so scary to me. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't think I would cope with it very well. And obviously, like, as an adult, that day comes closer and closer because everybody's on their way towards death. And, like, now that I'm an adult, I think, like, I've found peace with, like, death in the sense of, like, I know my parents have salvation. So I'm not worried about, like, their eternity. As a kid, it's just, like, what will I do? And I used to, like, role play in my mind. Like, my parents told me, oh, if we die, you'll go live with your aunt and uncle. And I used to, like, role play it and be like, what's my life going to be like? And I used to think they were going to die for sure. And I'd be like, okay, when I live with them, what am I going to do? Like, I went way too far with it. I just found it.
Who was going to be your...
Henry and my Uncle Henry and Auntie Fran. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you worried? Or you just, like, couldn't imagine?
Yeah. No, I was just worried. Like, I was just like, oh, my life's going to be so different. Like,
it's actually crazy to actually grow up with parents because there's a lot of people who don't get to grow up with parents.
It's true.
Not because of even death,
and even parents that are together, not divorced.
Yeah.
Like, both of us have parents that are still together to this day. Which is pretty rare, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Both of us just in silence. Yeah, just talking about the saddest things. All right, we're gonna
Any
move
questions
on.
for anybody?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just asking if you talk about
Oh, yeah.
Daryl Albert. Tell us about your trip to Nukumbati.
So Nukumbati Lai Lai is the owners of that particular island live there, just friends of ours. We go fishing with them, and one of the brothers owns a house that they don't live in. So recently we went and stayed there. We're gonna probably help them or do some advertising for them to rent it out. I think we're gonna go there this week and just take a look at the place and do a little cleaning up for them.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful place. It's pretty rugged out there. It's basic because they are on an island, but it is stunning. And it's kind of like...
it's like one of the most beautiful, even though, like, you know what place is beautiful when you go there or a lot, and every time you're there, it's still like, oh, wow, this is pretty. And so, there's 3 houses on their island, and then one of them is belongs to our friend Alan's first cousin. And, we're pretty good friends with Vogie. I met with him today. And he's got a house there that it's just a classic, like, it's just a classic cabin, like something you'd find on the lake in Canada or in the States, and just it's a perfect little weekend getaway house. Like, it's not fancy.
You do have to go across in the boat.
Yeah,
so they'd pick you up by boat. There's 2 bedrooms that are available up there.
It's a 2-bedroom with a very simple bathroom and a cold shower, and perfectly good kitchen, table, all the things that you need. And so, we're going to help him.
And they have a fridge, which honestly is the number one important thing.
So we're going to help him get the house ready. Just do a bit of tidying up, maybe touch up some of the paint and stuff a little bit. Like, for us, it's fine, but we want to make it, like, good for, the people that are going to go there.
Yeah, and I don't think he settled on, like, a rental price, but I think it's going to be affordable. And it's going to be... The nice thing is there's not a lot of affordable places that are on the ocean.
In Vulnerable.
Yeah. Like
in Fiji.
In Fiji. Like, everything's... If it's on the ocean, it's going to be $400 a night plus.
Yeah.
And I just find it outrageous. There's nowhere for people to go.
So what we want to be able to do is to... Vogie's already... the guy who owns the house, he's a successful guy in his own right. And he has this house that he's like... Because he's a businessman at heart, and so he's like, I have this house and it's not doing anything. We only go stay there every once in a while. Might as well make some money off of it.
Yeah.
And we're just like, well, like, we love this place. It'd be cool to be able to offer you guys, if anybody's interested, the chance to go and do exactly what we do. And so Alan will be there. So if you guys want to, book Alan and
to go fishing
or for him to take you snorkeling or whatever that is, he can take you out in his boat, and you guys can, like, I think the price of the stay will just include like the 2 or 3 minute, we'll call it 5 minutes from the jetty to their house, and then you can just stay there, do nothing, just check out, no internet, just you and your loved ones, either you and your kids or you and your wife or your husband, and just family time. And then you guys can book Alan if you guys want to go fishing and do all the other stuff on top of it. And so it's just a family property, and there's just an empty house that they're like, hey, let's make some money off of it. So
so you would have to plan your own food.
Yeah, just bring your food, but everything's there, the stove and everything, and family's all super friendly.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
We're actually going out there tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's kind of like our little fun thing that we do to get away, and we love hanging out with Alan. Kids love it out there.
Yeah, because like we can bring people to the village just because of the protocol, and it's also like a place where our kids feel like it's theirs, I guess, or it's safe.
Oh, you mean like these people?
Yeah. Well, like we can't. Yeah.
I'm like, who are you talking about?
Well, it's just like because this is like our home.
This is our home.
And so like we don't have like as much as we would love to. That's a whole different business, is to like bring people here and entertain everybody.
Yeah.
And like, it's not like we wouldn't want to do that. It's just that would take all of our time to do that properly. Yeah. So it just wouldn't be possible. And so this is like, hey, you guys see us doing this, and we just have this random opportunity with this empty house to be able to like, hey, you guys can actually go do something that we do all the time.
That's right.
It's not for everybody. Like it's not your 5-star, like everything served to you on a silver platter place. Yeah. Like bring your food. And
please know, like,
come to enjoy the sunset basic, and the quiet.
So, like, my parents loved it though.
Yeah.
Like, they enjoyed it so much.
But if you want like a spa and a swimming pool and Wi-Fi, like it's not the place.
Yeah, this is not the place. This is like rugged camping.
It's where you sit on the veranda with a glass of wine and enjoy the sunset with your arm around your wife.
Yeah, and like if you like fishing, if you like
Yeah.
spearfishing especially, or even snorkeling,
Yeah.
it is the place to go for sure.
So we'll talk about it more as we finalize everything with the Steiners, but that's going to be, something that will be involved in just helping them promote as time goes on.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And we've both been sick. Well, I've been sick mostly, but I'm feeling quite a bit better today. I felt like death rolled over this morning, but as the day goes on, I've been feeling like I'm actually recovering. It's been a long week of feeling absolutely ill. John, we got this head cold, and he was like, I think it's just going to be a really like short-lived thing. And his was. And mine has not been. So I'm like, John's like the other morning, like, you need to get up. I'm like, no.
I'm not.
I am not getting up. We had like a mini fight, and then I went back to bed. John's like, you're wasting the day. And I'm like, no. I am dying over here.
It was a good week, though, despite your sickness and my sickness.
Yeah, you got lots done.
Yeah.
I didn't. I got school done with the kids, and that's about it. So, and I've been more fun this week, though, with homeschooling. Because my mom was here, and my mom's really good at making every activity fun, and she loves teaching. And so she was doing all these fun, cool things with the kids where I'm normally like, sit and learn. I'm not very good at being fun. And so this week I was trying to be better.
It's going well, though.
Job. Yeah, I think it's
okay,
great.
question. Beautiful life indeed. Thank you very much. Nice. I like swimming. So do I. Have you guys ever considered doing a live podcast on Instagram as well? Oh, that's the question?
That's
the
the
comment. All right. How to be a successful man.
Yeah, John, how to be a successful man, what does that mean to you?
Ooh, well, I don't know if I'm a successful man. That's the thing.
We're not talking about you. We're talking about what do you think a successful man is, or how.
This is an opinion. This is not like.
Yes.
This is proven,
This
and
is not
this is how I
gospel.
became a successful man.
What, in your opinion, is a successful man? What is the definition of a successful man? What is success to you?
I think you can't base success on like the result or the like if my kids are good people, I don't think, or like they love Jesus, or if they're good men or they're good husbands. I don't know like if that is me. That's not a good measuring stick, I don't think. Like you can't use other human beings as a measuring stick for your success. Because like I know great guys whose sons are just totally rogue and they're great men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure that they would not say that they're successful themselves because of, those situations. But I think a man who leads his family and takes responsibility for the actions of the people that are in his circle, because like we choose who we're going to be around. And there's a lot of circumstances in which you can just blame other people for what's going on or when things don't turn out right. But I think with the main trait of that I find important in a man is like the ability to own problems and own things, ownership. And like there's there's lots of different words, respect and stuff like that. I think ownership for me is the number one marker of a man. And so if I see a person who has trouble, because like once you own something, like pride can be in the way, but once you actually own situations, it almost solves all the problems. Because if something isn't getting done and you turn to yourself to be like, okay, well, this is my responsibility, or this is what needs to get done. How do I try to make that happen? Then like you end up being the solution for problems that are not only just your own, but other people's problems as well.
Yeah.
And I think for us, like whatever level of success that we've had in Fiji thus far, like in the few short 4 years that we've been here, is because we, sometimes to our own detriment, we help other people win before we win. And so other people get the results. And this is, when you have a very long-term vision, this is kind of the thing, this is the game that you play, is that, you give, and then you take. And so a lot of people want to start just by taking, or they want to start a business and they just want to get clients. But sometimes you have to do things for free. And sometimes you have to, first assist before you're going to get paid or before you're going to get recognition. And so, yeah. Ownership.
I would agree with that. I think ownership is a big deal. And I would say,
I think women also like a man who owns things.
yeah. And like, I was going to add to that like that comes along with being secure in who you are as a man, in like trusting, in not having insecurities about your wife, about not being insecure about being challenged in things. Like insecurity, I think, kind of goes hand in hand. Like you can't take ownership without being secure in who you are.
Yeah.
That those two things kind of go together. And I think that goes a long ways for most people, men and women, but I think especially in men, if they take ownership of and responsibility for their family, the drama that's going on, the actions, and they're not insecure about what's happening around them. Like even for yourself, I think like you're very secure in who you are. And when we were young and I asked you to quit your job and come run the business in Canada with me, you switched on and off with me taking care of the kids. You got a lot of flack for that from our friends or people around us, like because you were home with the kids sometimes. But you're very secure in like being a man, and then that was okay. That like, yeah, it's kind of hard to like listen to it. Like it gets irritating after a while, but it didn't make you feel less manly. And I think like, to me, I looked at that and went, oh, wow, like John's secure in who he is and who we are as a couple, because that didn't diminish like the manliness that you felt, or like I respected you more for being able to do that, because it's hard to have people give you flack for what you're doing if it's not the normal, or yeah.
I think if any man can, if you want to be a better man, I think just own things.
Yeah.
Own everything. Own other people's problems.
It's true.
Like, because then you end up becoming a solution. And if you're the solution for other people, or if like people think that like you're a problem solver, then that's success.
And you know what? Men love solving problems. Like when their wives, any wife is like, oh, this is so hard for me. Most men don't listen. They want to problem solve. So that's already innate within men, but you need to then take on that problem and go,
Bula,
okay.
everybody. Welcome to the show.
Go ahead.
Bula, you want some?
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. Thanks, Tui. I don't mind drinking kava. It's fine.
When I think about I think that what helps me answer that question, so I have to stretch my legs out here. Oh, yeah.
It's fine. I am dying.
Like it is, I feel like the most unattractive man is the man that won't own things. Like
an insecure man.
Yeah, insecure, or like if you have problems with addictions, it's because like you're not able to own the fact that
it's your addiction.
Yeah, that it's yours and that you have it. Or if you're messy, or if you're procrastinating,
if your marriage is falling apart.
Marriage is falling apart.
You need to own that you're part of that.
Yeah.
And you need to start fixing it.
Mm-hmm. Ownership.
Yeah. Things like that.
How to be a successful man. Own your ship.
Successful man is one who finds his purpose and creates a life where he can fulfill that purpose.
Come again?
Successful man is one who finds his purpose and creates a life where he can fulfill that purpose.
Well, and it's interesting. Like my dad always says that men always need purpose, and like a lazy man without purpose, like that is to the detriment of society, or like the death of marriages or the death of relationships, because men that are purposeless get into terrible things. They start either doing drugs or they get bad habits or they're just lazy and like they have no drive, and that is not like a great healthy thing for a man. Not that that's healthy for anyone, but particularly men, because men, when they have goals, are more driven towards them.
Yeah.
And the pursuit of that is healthy.
Yeah.
And I think like women, I think it just depends on who you are and like what your goal is. I'm very goal oriented to have a business, but I also want to be a really good mother. I want to do both at the same time. Where like my sister's sole priority is her children, and she has set aside her ambition to make sure that she is a very good mother. And she has done both. She's fine with doing both, but she puts aside her other ambition because she wants to solely be a good mother. You know, like it just depends on the goal in the moment.
Yeah. Totally.
Don't say that ever again.
Totally. It's a good way to kill it.
Does the government help your business grow?
Does the government help your business grow? In Fiji?
I don't. No, like I don't think that's the government's job.
No.
Like I think I said this like last live. I think if we look to the government for anything other than the maintenance of our freedoms, then we've got problems. Like if government fails to, or if government starts taking away the freedoms that we have, then we got problems, because that's like your only job. Because government is inherently ridden with systems and processes, because that is their job. Their job is to
systematize.
And to make sure that things happen in lawful ways. And so government is inherently slow, and you know, the purpose of government is not to make things easy for you. I think the purpose of government is to ensure that you can be a free person. To
do and grow your business as you please and you see fit.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of people want freebies. They want success without hard work. Success does not come without hard work.
Yeah.
And the people that you see that are successful have put in the hard work, even though maybe you just noticed they're successful, so it looks like they were successful. Overnight, they were not. You know, they worked hard. They suffered for a time. And the government never went, here, have this really successful business. That is not how life works. And in Canada, I would say, I don't know as much about the government system here. I would say the only things that I look to the government for when I'm looking at them there is that they're putting small business taxes in a certain bracket, that they're allowing me not to be strangulated by the system, that they need to be paid in taxes. Good for them. I agree with that. But don't kill us off, because economy runs off of small businesses. So let us flourish. Don't strangle us. Let us like have a reasonable tax rate. Even in Fiji, the tax rates for small businesses are pretty like
fair.
They're not bad. They're not terrible. Sometimes they could be painful just depending on where you are in the country. Like in Sanganga, running a small business there, you're not going to make a huge amount of money. So the taxes and FMPF and all that kind of stuff is rough. But if you were in a bigger city center, it would probably seem more reasonable. Yeah. Right? So it really just depends on where you are. But in Canada, I would say like when we're voting and looking at the government there, I'm voting mostly on what is helpful for my small business. But the government has...
Yeah, because that's your goal.
That's my goal.
Yeah.
But like...
Economically speaking.
Yeah, but the government's never given me a leg up. Like, they don't help advertise. They don't help me get clients. They don't help me organize my finances. They just say at the end of the year, here, pay your taxes.
Yeah.
You've made money. So I don't know what else we want from the government in that way.
Yeah, some governments are faster than others. Some are slow. And so...
And I would say...
I think what gets me riled up is when you realize like how many different angles you get taxed from as a citizen of any democratic nation. Like that's when you start getting like upset.
Yeah. Well,
you know, like you get taxed on your income, and then
you get taxed on the products you buy.
You get taxed on the products you buy, and the car that you drive you have to pay tax on, and then you put fuel in your vehicle and you get taxed on the fuel, and then you put money into your savings, and then your savings accounts get taxed, and then you have to pay property tax. And it's just like, if you think about it like that, it's just like, holy smokes. Like, I'm gonna go move off grid somewhere.
But at the same time, it is what it is. And there are systems for a reason because we want nice roads that don't have so many potholes. So, we're not going to complain that
Yeah,
much.
so true.
And water systems. Hey, we still need clean water out here. So pay a few
Yeah,
more
actually, I got
taxes.
an email for a guy.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's a issue.
Hey, dude. Oh, hey. That's a good question. Where do you live? We live in Sanganga. You are so hot, sir. Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're so hot, honey.
Oh, that's because you did that video in the river. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Very, very kind comment. How did your family adapt so quickly to the Fijian way of living when you arrived?
Oh, I don't think we did, or I didn't.
Yeah, I don't.
I like to wear the badge of honor of I always call myself the very worst village wife. Not because I'm trying to be, just because I am.
Yeah.
And not because I don't know or I didn't grow up with this culture, so I'm never going to be the best at it.
Yeah.
And everything is opposite. And
our goal is not to fit in here.
And we're not trying to be rude though either. We're not trying to disrupt
no.
things.
But the goal is to do something different so that people don't have to leave.
Yeah.
So that our kids and their kids' kids can stay in Fiji. Otherwise, we're going to end up with Samoa, where more Samoans live in New Zealand than actually live in Samoa. And Fiji can easily turn into that same situation. And so if we can play a small part in, keeping people in the South Pacific, then that's what we're going to try to do.
And we're not saying you shouldn't go overseas. We're just saying if there was good paying opportunities within the country that were a benefit to you, especially if you have family here, to keep families together, that's important to us. We see our small village slowly, people are just leaving, everything's dwindling, and Fiji will lose culture, it will lose family structure is at a loss, and kids without fathers is a big problem. You do not create really great next generations without fathers in the household.
Yeah.
And that's what we're losing right now is fathers in the household. We have probably right now, I think 5 kids that I can think off the top of my head, maybe just probably 5, I think in total, that are around us that don't have fathers around them.
Yeah.
And that's not
in our small circle.
In our small circle. That's not a great thing for them growing up, It's sad.
Next question. Do you have any regrets in leaving Canada for Fiji?
My biggest regret is not having my kids grow up as much around my family, just because you can't get those years back. But at the same time, I wouldn't change it. It's harsh, but I think it's been the best thing for our kids.
Yeah, they're playing soccer in the background right now. For those of you who can probably hear, especially on the Instagram feed, but
yeah, I love it for our children. I would say sometimes when I look back, I'm my parents or my siblings didn't get to see our kids grow up like that. But then in reality, we live so far apart, they wouldn't have seen them that much anyway, Yeah. And the years that we were here when they were really little was COVID, so we wouldn't have seen them barely at all. So I don't know. It's one of those things where you can live in regret, but at the same time, you made your choice, and I think it's been the best choice for our family.
100%.
And I think my only regret is for myself, maybe just not adjusting, or I don't know. I don't really regret anything for me. Maybe I have small little things, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I regret not being more prepared moving here, or planning for the worst. I think it's what I regret, but I don't miss anything in Canada. I think me and you had these grand ideas of okay, we can buy a boat in the first year, and we thought we'd be set up better, and then we couldn't prepare for COVID, obviously. But
now we have that beautiful tractor in the background instead of a boat.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Do you regret anything? Do you have big regrets about any thing that we've done moving to Fiji?
No. I don't think so, because Canada's such a big country that we live hours. We live 12, 14 hours from Stephanie's sister, and then we live 8-9 hour drive from my brother
parents.
before. I mean,
Yeah.
they moved closer to where we're staying now, but
Your parents are like
it's
20 hours.
yeah, my parents are like a 24-hour drive. And so like it's almost like we see everybody less, but like not way less. It's not like we saw everybody like,
Way
every
more.
week
Yeah.
or like
We
say
weren't
there's
living
50
beside
weeks.
them.
Like we didn't see everybody 50 times a year, and now we see them like once a year. We saw everybody like twice a year,
Yeah.
and now we see them once a year. So I think that also might like help people understand that like it wasn't like we left our family that we spent all our time around. Like we had nobody that lived beside us at the time.
Yeah, and I think like
it was our friends
it's
more
our
that
friends that was hard to leave because, well, my family wouldn't appreciate that comment. It was hard to leave our family. It was hard to leave our friends because they're the people that we saw day in and day out. And when we're moving here, it's just so different. Like we don't have the same style of friends that we were surrounded with.
Yeah.
Back home, because we live out of town, we live in the village. It's just, it looks very different than what we had in friendships. And so I think that's one thing, like if we could just ship some of our friends here just be besties all the time, it'd just be so easy. But I don't see them doing that anytime soon. We're always slowly like so you guys could just move to
people
Fiji.
do, like all of our friends are like, man, I would do it if I could. Everybody says that.
I just slowly, like once we build a house and I have more financial stability, I'm just slowly over the years just putting that into their brains. Like, you would
100%.
love living in Fiji, wouldn't you?
100%. Is there any more questions there?
From the guy, man. I'm sure you missed Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen? No. Actually, that's like the last place I miss. John and I would go to Dairy Queen maybe once a year. Maybe.
Yeah.
We're not like, I do love Dairy Queen, don't get me wrong. Like, once you have it, it's good. But John and I were I miss Wendy's. I'm like a Wendy's girl.
Calm down.
Do you love Wendy's or what?
I miss Wendy's.
When I go home, I've got a list of food. Like, I'm gonna try to be really healthy when I go home. But like the first couple days, I can eat Wendy's. I can have sushi. I'm gonna try to get some ramen in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And hot dog from Costco has made the list.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, can't wait.
What is that, like T-minus, like not many days, eh?
Yeah, I leave on the 8th. And then after that, I'm just going to like straight eat healthy, go to the gym, work a lot.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks. I procrastinated booking my flight because I didn't really want to go. But we did. Tui's aunt is going to come and take care of you and Tui and everybody.
And the kids, too.
Tui's like, I'm worried, too. We're going to eat dal for 2 months. And then he's like, oh, wait, my aunt's coming. I'm like, yeah, you're lucky.
Well, if you go and you make money, then we'll just buy steak.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to eat
right.
good. Hey, you don't get to go and eat sushi and ramen and Dairy Queen and Wendy's and all this stuff, and I'm stuck here with hot dogs and all this stuff.
Do you know what's the best thing? Because like Costco's really strict about going in now with no Costco card, and I do not have a membership. But I think I have my mom's membership card. And like, if you look at the face, you're gonna be like, "That's not you." But they don't really look at it, so I'm just gonna use it to go in so I can eat. So I'm gonna go eat a hot dog. I'm not gonna go shopping. I just want to go eat a hot dog. I just need to get into.
Yeah,
the food
right. You're
court.
not gonna go shopping.
Well, no, I'll get Larissa to take me shopping. My sister-in-law's there. She can take me.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna use the card to like go for a hot dog.
How often are you going for this hot dog?
Just once, maybe twice.
Yeah,
it's so
plans.
good. Actually, the kids will agree with me. Costco hot dogs are on the list. So delicious.
Oh.
If you guys don't have a place to stay, I can provide it to you guys.
Okay. Oh, for the next week? Okay.
For what?
We're talking about going to the Sevens next week. In
Oh,
Tavini.
you are? Okay.
Taking the
Wow.
bus.
That's random.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, well, if it's just you and Tui, that's fine.
Me, Tui, and Karoy. Just hop on the bus, take our tents.
Oh my gosh. Just go stay with Tui's friends. Or this dude.
Or we go stay with Jim and Wonka.
Yeah, don't take your tents. That one tent leaks. Tui was sleeping in that tent and it rained, and then it was just like all flooded. Sucker.
No, trust me, we've all slept in our fair
And
share.
okay, this is
Flooded
the funniest part.
year.
I am such a princess. So we rented these two little houses, which were really great for just like our family and my parents. But the bathroom was like a half door. And then the wall wasn't like all the way up to the ceiling. So it was like a half wall.
So when you're
using the toilet, everyone can hear you.
And everybody can smell you.
They smell you. They can see you. If you glance over, there's no privacy. And then I was like these guys are not allowed to come, like, while they're fishing. They're not allowed to use the toilet here. Like, I cannot share. John's like, are you okay? I'm like, no, this is not happening. I don't want them to come. John's like, wow, you're so vicious.
Even I was like not allowed at times.
Oh yeah, I gotta leave the house. It's disgusting.
Any other things on YouTube, Facebook?
I just wondering, noticed that a bit attended primary school last year, but this year you
Our homeschooling.
homeschool them. Yeah. Is there any other reason why you pulled them out of the school system?
Yeah, like I felt like it just depends on the teacher and the curriculum. I just felt like they were falling behind where I would like them to be. And I just thought, you know what, this year I just want them to catch up and see where they're at and see if it's them or if it's the school system or what's going on. And every teacher is different. They have a variety of styles of teaching. And I also think it's really important for me. I felt like sometimes the teachers are not encouraging when the kids are struggling. They're actually really discouraging. And I feel like at a young age that is really a detriment to your kids. Overall, like, we love the school, and I wish we could put them back there this year. I think for me, I've been looking at where they're at in school, and I want them to just be pushed a little bit harder. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like bash the school system or the teacher, because I do like the school and I did like the teacher. I just had a few personal issues that I wasn't okay for me to compromise on, and so that's why we decided to homeschool this year. We're going to kind of play it by ear. If we're in Suva next year at all, we'll look at some other schools there, mostly because we're in Sanganga. We don't have a variety of options to choose from, so if you don't like something that's happening in that particular school, it's not like we have like 10 other schools to shift to. We can kind of go, well, they're not going to change, and I don't fully agree with this, so then we just got to do it ourselves. So
yeah, your kids are not the school system's responsibility.
No.
Like, if you feel like your kids can get better, like could get a better quality education from yourself, then do that thing. Like, they are your kids. And if you are a somewhat smart person, you feel like you know what they need, then do that. Like, they're your children. Don't let somebody else raise them if you don't feel like they're doing a good job.
And I think like the young years are probably the most important for structure in what they learn and how they learn, and having a really solid base. And so that's not saying we wouldn't go back to the public system, but I want our kids to have a stronger base foundation in their education than they have right now. So it's been challenging. We're going to look at if we can afford it next year, because we're hopefully going to be working a lot more. If we can get someone to come in and teach them at home, using like a curriculum that we have. I'm okay at teaching. I just don't enjoy it. I feel drained after I teach our kids. Just because with mom, they're always going to challenge you way more than they would a teacher. Because when you go into a school, all of a sudden this teacher has authority and they're not allowed to emotionally offload onto them. So they have to be structured. They have to be a little bit more obedient. They cannot treat you like a parent and be mad. And so when we're schooling at home, I still get the drama of I'm your mom, and they want to weasel their way out of school. There's a lot more fighting because it's with a parent. So there's just a lot more like emotional turmoil when we're trying to do school. And by the time I'm done teaching them, I'm just like exhausted. I need like a nap, and I'm supposed to be working or doing something else. But I'm like, ooh. So I don't want to do it more than another year. But time will just kind of tell what they need. And if they can go back to public school, if they have all their basics, then I'm also fine with that. But we'll just see how it goes. So I think that's it for the night. I got to go make dinner. So I think we're going to call it a wrap.
We're going to call it a wrap, are we? What wrap?
A burrito wrap.
I was thinking more like music. Thank everybody for joining. I know this was so much fun. You guys would rather this just go all night, but unfortunately we do have to end this. Yeah, I'm gonna go make some burritos. Are you? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what we have in the kitchen. Okay. Or the guys can just eat fried rice because that's leftover. Oh yeah, true. We'll go see how inspired I am too. He's like, please make burritos. That takes so long though, because you gotta make the roti, you gotta make the wraps and everything. Well, I already have the rice. I already cut up the pineapple. Oh.
So we'll see. I just gotta
You
look.
should have let me bring fish home.
Oh, you know what? Maybe we just make that at Alan's. Okay,
Oh,
let's just do that.
the Eva is blowing, so I got a message from Ellen.
Oh.
Maybe we're not going.
Oh, Alan, don't say that.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, we're
Anyways,
gonna call it a night. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for joining us on the live and the podcast.
we will see you next week. Appreciate you all. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.